The last building where you were digging, it separates that building from San Juan.
Well, that's one way to do it.
No, shoot it.
Yeah.
I try to shoot it target, you know, and I go in there.
That's a pretty good punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've always been very quiet, never said much.
These are going down.
For a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
What do they need the addition for?
They're just expanding so much, their sales are just,
Keith, do you get it back or do you want to put it in the back of that folder?
and, so, I mean, it's not a huge.
Lynn's
thing,
collecting
just
those.
something.
Okay, you guys.
That's,
I signed that last week.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, wait.
I don't think
Yep,
so.
have to go. Go ahead, John.
Okay, well, you notice Eddie isn't here tonight. I thought I'd better do this every now and then just to, so I can remember how to do it. So I'm gonna make up for the next, last 2 or 3 months that I lost. So just sit down, relax, it's gonna be a long time. Item number one, every year the city gets between $35,000 to $38,000 under an entitlement called Community Development Block Grant. This money can be spent in low to moderate income areas of the city that have been defined by the last census. And probably about half the city falls within that category. The problem is, it's difficult to find projects that cost that amount of money in those particular areas. We've got a lot of projects that we could spend that money on outside of the low to moderate income areas, but not that many inside. So this year, as a matter of fact, what we're doing for 2012 is we're using that money, or Bob Geller's using that money, to install new road signs that meet the Federal Highway Administration's regulations for reflectiveness, size, and things like that. Now, next year in 2013, we looked at a number of possible projects and decided that the money could best be applied for paving an area of Thornwood Drive from where it intersects, an area of Irvingwood Drive, from where it intersects Thornwood Drive and where it intersects the railroad tracks by the Port Authority. That one strip of road has not been paved in several years, it's falling apart. So that's what we're going to try to apply the money to next year in the summer of 2013. That also fits in well with, we hope to pave Thornwood Drive in 2013. So, you know, we'll have two freshly paved areas very closely linked together. Plus the remainder of Irvingwood Drive was just paved within the last year and a half.
You said the Thornwood Drive from,
We would pave Irvingwood Drive West between the intersection of Thornwood Drive and the railroad tracks.
thank
Mm-hmm. So that's about. Any questions on that? The next one is if you've used the new section of bike path and you've gone up to the bridge over James Parkway, the new one, you've noticed that that section of bike path is closed. The reason is about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when we had the heavy rain and Ramp Creek rose very quickly, it took out a significant section of the fence that was just put in along the bike path underneath the bridge. The city has looked at it, ODOT has looked at it, and we've asked Joe Sanderson to look at it too, to determine if possibly that segment of fencing was not installed properly. ODOT's conclusion was that it was installed according to their specifications. My conclusion was, well, I thought maybe it wasn't installed based on my interpretation of some of their specifications. So we called Joe Sanderson, who designed the project, and asked them to examine the plans, and they just sent me today their analysis of that. And the analysis is kind of weak in support of our position. They did cite some areas where it may not have been installed to specification, but it wasn't as strong as I would like to represent it to ODOT to see if we could challenge them on their opinion. But I'm going to try to do it anyway, and we'll see what happens. If we fail to impress ODOT to the point where they feel that it is not their responsibility, then we will be required to reinstall the fencing at our cost. So it may be an insurance thing. It may come down to that, I'm not sure. But in the meantime, because the fencing is out, we have had to close the path. And it won't be open in that section underneath the bridge until it can be reinstalled.
A lot of mud down there too.
There is, yeah. And, Bob's people have been cleaning up the other paths and stuff, they just haven't had time to get down there. Bob will probably report on this in more detail, in 2 weeks when he has the Parks Department meeting. But I just wanted to give you an update of, what occurred there.
Who inspected the work?
ODOT did. ODOT, we paid them to be the contract administrator, which includes inspection. So, now they didn't come out and say, no, we're not gonna pay for it, but they said in their review of the plans and details that they didn't feel that there was anything that was installed inadequately. And if we wanted to re-examine it, that was our option to do it, and they would look at it again if we had significant evidence otherwise. We do have evidence otherwise, but I don't know if it's significant or not. We'll just have to wait and see.
Wouldn't that be like having the fox watch the hen house?
Perfectly said.
I mean, if you're having ODOT do the
Perfectly said.
inspection, and then they're really part of the procedure,
But that's
to me like you're wanting the fox to watch the hen house.
that water comes down. I don't think anybody over there ever come out and watch the water come down through there. It's a lot of force in that water.
There is at that particular
That's the
point.
highest I've seen it
Yeah.
since about 1960.
Yeah, it doesn't rise a lot, even when we have heavy rains, but it did this time, and there was a lot of force to it. And it took a lot of force to remove fence sections. So, that's an unresolved situation, and whether or not it's going to be resolved in our favor, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that.
What do you think our prospects of having the insurance benefit?
I can't say there.
That's flood. I'm gonna bet that
Pardon?
that is from flood.
Right. We're not covered by that.
Yeah. The good news is the material wasn't damaged, the fence material itself. So what we're looking at is reinstallation, not purchase of material. So, however, we may have to purchase some additional new materials to better sink it and anchor it and things like that. So we'll just have to wait and see.
You know, I question why they even put it in the first place, because I'd a lot rather turn over out in that little shallow creek there than hit that fence on my bike.
There is a stone, probably about 20 feet of stone between the edge of the bike path and where the water is. And people that ride bikes like me who aren't too balanced, going down a hill at more than 2 miles an hour with a turn in it, would very likely go off and into the stone.
You haven't seen me ride it.
But the fence is necessary for safety's sake. So that's an unresolved situation. By the time Bob meets with you folks, hopefully we'll have some more information on it.
So we have the original specs, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Have we done any kind of a cursory audit on anything as far as?
Looking
Have we
at,
done substandard?
in my opinion, it's a matter of interpretation. The way you look at something and what the plans reference, you can go either way. And that's the problem. It's very nebulous, very gray area, and which does not help us at all. It doesn't give us specifics that we need to stand on to cite that this was absolutely done incorrectly.
Yeah. Especially when the judge and jury are one and the same.
Exactly.
Jeff, I didn't hear the whole question you asked me about.
If we've done our own audit of the materials, the workmanship, the specs, we have a copy of the specs.
Okay,
Have we done our own internal review of the specs?
okay,
And we
As far
have,
as the damage goes, to see if the stuff was sunk in,
yeah.
the right type of material was used. We're up against the judge and the jury.
and we did, the first thing we did is we took the specs out, examined them, went down there, measured the depth that we thought they were anchored in and all this other type of stuff. We did that ourselves internally. And then when we figured, well, we need more assistance in this to see if something more specific than what we saw was wrong. So that's when we went to Jobs Henderson. And and they went down there and replied to us. There are some things that are questionable, but whether or not it's strong enough to substantiate an argument with ODOT, we're not sure. Any other questions on that? Okay. Item number 3, Cletus?
Go ahead.
Okay. What's going on with various projects? The Thornwood Drive culvert project is well underway as far as property acquisition goes. I talked with our acquisition person today, and she has made contact with, there are 3 properties. One, the Port Authority, they donated the property to us. So we only have to purchase very small parcels of property from two other property owners. That probably should be done in another 6 weeks. We do expect construction to begin on that project probably around July, and that will entail the portion of Thornwood Drive where the culvert is being installed to be shut down for probably a week to 2 weeks, something like that. Something that's interesting here, and we use federal money on this project. And I am one of those people that would rather use any other source of funding than federal money. The reason being is that federal money, when you use it, you have to follow federal guidelines. And when you follow federal guidelines, everything costs a lot more and takes a lot more time. To give you an example of this, we're paying the appraisers, the negotiators, for the 3 parcels of right-of-way that we need. And the amount of right-of-way that we'll be purchasing probably will be maybe the size of this room, okay? Maybe twice the size of this room. It's costing us $13,000 to follow the federal guidelines to acquire this property. The property cost will probably be less than 10% of what we're paying the appraisers. So I'm just saying that in passing because this is so typical whenever you have to spend federal money. It's not ODOT or anything. ODOT has to follow the process. They do a good job with it. But we do too, and it just infuriates me. And it should infuriate the general public that this occurs. Now, to ODOT's credit, they understand this, and they're actually developing new guidelines for the steps the projects have to go through to reduce the time and the cost within the limits that they're given by the Federal Highway Administration and other federal agencies. But I'm bringing this up just because it just rubs me so bad the wrong way. We're spending all of that money just to get maybe $1,000, $1,300 worth of property. And it's taking months and months to do. But that's the way big government works. It's sad.
Kind of got to look at it. What's the government's total slice of the total project? We're trying to make it look a little better than what it does.
What the government's total slice, this is about a $270,000 project. Government's paying roughly 80% of that, the feds. So, you know, that's good. But the project would probably be closer to a $180,000 project or a $170,000 project if we did it on our own and used our own money to do it. So we're still paying less using federal dollars than we would doing it on our own. But the time and the cost is greatly exaggerated whenever you go into the federal system. Tim is very well aware of that, I think. So anyway, just a sample of that. And this applies to every project we do. So any questions on Thornwood Drive? South 30th Street paving. We have finished the plans on that. We have actually working on it jointly with the City of Newark and the Village of Granville. And the City of Newark has some excellent engineering personnel who are processing the plans for their department on behalf of all 3 municipalities.
When did they get that?
Well, you know. Yeah. But anyway, I need to publicly thank Tim because he not only worked on the Newark plans, but he got those plans done and he coordinated our plans as well as Granville's plans all together to submit them to Newark. So Tim deserves a big round of thanks from all of us for that.
So what's the story on the reflectors in the street? Remember we talked about that last time? What's the story?
They're not going in. I mean, they're coming out, but not going back in.
Okay.
Yeah, we discussed that. It doesn't really make sense to put them in because the roads are lighted. And a lot of them get taken out by snowplows. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense in a situation
Well, that
like that.
Duraplast paint is pretty reflective.
Yeah, that's
as it
excellent.
is.
It's much better. You may want to put those raised pavement markers in areas where you don't have a lot of street lighting and things like that. But in areas where you have it heavily lighted already, you're in good shape. And the lanes are standard straight lanes, they don't change.
If you had curves and stuff, you know, I mean, like if the road was windy or something like that, then
Yeah.
it'd probably be more likely. But you know, 30th Street's pretty much a straight shot.
Yeah.
So,
And the good news is we have to submit 2 sets of plans. The first plan's already been submitted. I would expect ODOT will get their comments back to us probably within another month. And then we'll submit a final set of plans. This project will be scheduled for actual bidding and then paving next summer. And hopefully we'll see some good prices on it because we're combining these other projects.
A year from now.
Yeah.
2013.
Yeah.
John, Randy Comersford just called from MoDOT, called me this afternoon, wanted to know if I'd seen the comments and stuff, and I go, no, and he goes, you didn't get no, and he'd sent it to Brian, but he didn't copy me on it and stuff, so he goes, well, I'll send it, and you probably won't get it till tomorrow, so if he had sent it, I could have told you more, but he said pretty much there's, very little. We had one area that we actually had some work going on out of the right of way in the Newark section, and so we got to take that out because they won't let us do any work out of the right of way.
Good try, though.
So it's like, it's just a little bit, so try to slip it in there. But that was what the main comments was about. So the actual plans were okay. It was just everyone was up in arms about the fact that there was some work outside the right of way, and I was like, yeah.
We're always trying to.
Excuse me. The south part of South 30th Street is not included in this project.
No, it's
The
not.
Worcester Mill or the Olive Garden,
No, it's not. That's actually, well, between,
it's a rough road.
yeah, no, it's not. This just extends, because that's not part of the federal aid route. Federal aid route starts at the intersection of 79, going north into Newark. So, and that road does need paving. It does need paving. It will survive this year, but sections of it are really not in good shape now. So, that'll come up for paving next year. Any questions on that? And again, I'm serious when I say Tim did an excellent job. And when the project comes through, he'll deserve a lot of credit, though he won't get it. He will deserve it for a lot of the work that he put into that. Hopewell Drive Bridge, there are two phases to that project. One is the removal of utility lines off the bridge. That's been complete. The water and sewer lines have been removed. They are now connected to our system. And everything's taken care of there. They're now under the creek and not on the bridge. Construction will start around June 11th, June 12th, right when school gets out. And we anticipate it hopefully being done by the end of August, around when school begins. So that's the contractor's goal, that's ODOT's goal, and I think we'll be able to achieve it. So, and things have gone smoothly with the relocation of the utility lines. We didn't have any problems at all.
So you're talking June to August then?
Yes, June to August. That'll be nice. Now, the State Route 79 job, I thought it was dragging. I thought the contractor was not emphasizing it as much, and I told all of that, and they told the contractor that. And I'm not sure that was what caused the contractor to begin emphasizing the project here, but in the last 2 weeks, the contractor's done a lot of work. The stormwater line on the west side of the road is now installed, waiting for the curb to be put in. This week, if you've noticed at night, there's a lot of work going on at night. There are 3 sections where they have to put stormwater line underneath the road, and so they're doing that at night. And when they're done with that, probably around Thursday night, they're going to finalize the connection of our water system at the intersection of Andover Road. And that will be a long night. They're going to shut the road down about 7 p.m. You'll have one northbound, one southbound lane of traffic in that area. And they have to work on it until it's done. So it could be done at 6 in the morning. It might not be done until 10 in the morning or noon. We don't know. It depends on what kind of things they run into. You never know underground. But that will begin. When that's done, everyone will have a big sigh of relief because that's really a tough part of the project. Also, if you notice today, they put the curbs in on Oberlin. That's now done. And all they really have to do is put the asphalt down on both Oberlin and, after a little more base work on Radiant, the asphalt there. They're waiting for the asphalt plants to open, which might be near the end of this week because weather's so good. So I would guess in the next 2 to 3 weeks, they'll be able to put the asphalt down, and we should see both of those roads open.
Shelley started asphalt. They did. Shelley Company did.
Today.
At
Yeah.
Oberlin?
No, I mean not putting.
Oh,
I mean,
on the
started
plant?
making it. They started
Okay,
making
that's
asphalt.
good. That's good because now the curb's in. All they do is put the asphalt down.
Huh? So, yeah, they started.
Okay.
Actually, last Friday, they did a test batch and stuff.
Well, that's faster than I thought.
Yeah.
But the weather's
Because the
been
weather's so
good
good, they
for us,
wanted,
yeah. This weather has helped us with that project, so.
John, you put together a release for businesses, you know, that we emailed to and also to the media. You did that last week, right?
Yes, I sent that out last
Seth,
week.
did you guys get that at the Advocate? Do you recall?
Yeah, it should run Saturday.
Thank you.
I don't miss it.
It was in the paper Saturday.
Okay.
I appreciate
Because
it.
the tough thing is doing the water tie-in. We don't know for sure when they're gonna stop. I mean, we may still have lane closures involved when, you know, people are going to work on Friday morning. In fact, there's a pretty decent likelihood that that'll be the case.
Yes,
right?
it is. I would say it definitely is 7. And if you see a big pool of water on the road at Andover when you're going to work at 7, it's gonna be a long day.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be long. Yeah.
So, it is going. One thing, I want to say this loudly, and I want to say it often. We're approaching the time, it might be 8 weeks, it might be 10 weeks, but they're gonna get here quickly, when we're going to shut down the center turn lane. When we do that, traffic will be very, very frustrating on 79, because you will only be able to make left turns at intersections. There will be no U-turns at that time. The U-turns won't go into effect until the median is installed and the paving is complete. And you're looking maybe September for that. So we're going to have a period of time. The easy part of the project is still going on. The hard part of the project is when the center lane is removed. And I want to broadcast that as much as possible to prepare people. It's coming, it's not gonna be that great. We're gonna have to live with it for a period of time until it's done. So that's gonna be tough. Now the good news is after a couple of weeks you adjust to it, you plan ahead. The bad news is no matter how much you adjust to it, it's still gonna be infuriating. So I want people to be alert that that will be happening.
Mayor, is there any way that Judy could change all our personal phone numbers on the website? During that time?
We'll see what we can do.
Those 14 weeks of vacation we government workers get, I'll be taking that.
Perfect. You still put his number on there?
Hey Seth, it might be a good idea. We're looking at the beginning of summer for that to happen, right?
Yeah, I would say probably in June sometime.
Yeah. I think maybe sometime here within the next month, be a good idea for us to sit down with Seth.
Yes.
Let's get some sort of a map diagram thing. You know, let's make sure that that we're doing what we can to get this information in an intelligent manner to people. Okay.
And at the same time, that's starting. The Hopewell Drive Bridge is going to be starting. And
Yes.
the Thornville Culvert is going to be starting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, people don't appreciate how difficult
And
it is
Franklin
to
Avenue
plan
water
those
line.
Franklin Avenue water line.
Well, sometime we should get together and talk about all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And you know,
Bike paths are open,
Yeah.
bike paths are solidly open. I highly recommend it.
Hey, except out here.
Except over at the
I remember
Scratch
we'll
that.
publish the Newark Engineer's Office number, if anyone has any questions.
Wedgwood, Maureen, and Lancaster circle's good.
There we
That's
go.
right. There you go.
wanna
Award
brag?
winning.
Award winner.
Hey, John, Ward one.
John, do you think that people driving down there, even though that lane is closed, will think they can just stop and turn left, or there'll be signs to tell people not to turn? Because I'm thinking there'll just be a log jam there where people are just stopping, thinking with their turn signal on, and people are piling up behind
Oh,
them.
barrels.
They're just
They'll
gonna
they'll have barrels,
Okay.
plus they're gonna be cutting out the center section.
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
driving into a
So
hole.
visually, it's going to be pretty obvious. However, you have a point in that no matter how visually obvious some things are,
They might
about
still be in the
80% of the
hole.
drivers still don't get the message.
Yeah.
So, they will have a lot of markings and everything else.
Put alligators in the median.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah. But you're right, you know, I always fear for that because it's, I don't wanna say dangerous, but it could increase the possibility of accidents and everything else in that phase of the project.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just, John, was the contractor, are they gonna have message boards out? Are they required to put up message boards?
Yes,
We
they
have
message
those
boards
big
out now.
ODOT message
Yeah,
boards
yeah.
through the duration of the project, yeah.
So
Those-
they'll be up almost permanently then?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the, would be the south and north end?
They'll say, "Look out, stupid," but, yeah.
What about ours? Well, that's a speed limit thing, isn't it?
We can use it for things like that, but it's not as effective as the big
Yeah.
ones that Nick's
Yeah.
talking about. You can't see it as easily.
Yeah, so we've got those now. Yeah, we do use them quite a bit. So, also, if it's all right, I would like to have an executive session for about 15 or 20 minutes at the end of this to go over possible litigation on the 79 project. That's all right.
Or just hold it to the end while we get over it.
Yeah, if you could.
Jack's coming at 6:30, so depending on how things shake out,
I'll make it quick.
we'll
Okay. Any other questions on that? Item number 4, a national lumber company is a distributor, wholesale distributor of lumber to places like Lowe's, Carter Lumber, Home Depot, and they're located on James Parkway. They have been there for several years, very quiet, unobtrusive, but it's a remarkable company in that it's not national, but it's local national between Pennsylvania, Ohio, and these areas. And they've expanded a great deal, and they are expanding again. They're putting in more shelters and stuff to store more lumber and things like that. And we just gave them a permit to do an additional storage building up there. And I just wanted to bring that up because it's one of those unheralded businesses in Heath that brings a lot to the community and does very well. And they're very nice people to work with. So I just wanted to mention that they're a lot like Dr. Son, you know.
How many employees they have?
I don't know, but they have.
Lots of plugs today.
And they're also like
Kudos and-
EnviroClean as well, I might add too.
I don't know.
Don't be bashful, come on in.
Hey Craig, how you doing?
Alright, how are you?
Good.
I already.
Nick, is there another chair over there?
Are you done? I was just told in case there was any questions.
No, no.
We haven't gotten to finance
Yeah,
yet.
I really slammed you. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. The last item number 5, most of you are aware, our county has 2 transit systems, 2 public transit systems. And we have all agreed that that's one too many. And we're trying to consolidate them into one system. It's a major project, it's not a simple thing. And that is an ongoing situation that can affect the service to the city of Heath. And I know the mayor has been involved in that. I didn't know if you wanted to
Yeah.
mention anything at this time.
There was a committee formed that selected a company that will do the consulting on this process. And I think after the consultant was selected, there was a meeting of principals involved. I know that Mayor Hall was there. Commissioner Bubb was there. There were some others from Newark and from the county as well. And my sense is that there are 2 primary goals that we would like to achieve in this process. One would be that the service to the citizens throughout Licking County, including those in Newark and Heath currently served by Earthworks, does not diminish and perhaps can be augmented, and also that it be done in a more cost-effective manner so that potentially we can actually charge lower fares to those people who utilize the service. So, as John said, it's a process that you know is going to need to play out some, but I think everyone seems to be rowing in the same direction on this. something that I always kind of shook my head at was when I would see a county transit bus going right by someplace waiting for an earthworks bus to pick them up to take them to the same place. And if you ever go out to the hospital or out to the doctor's offices out on West Main area, you see lots of them with one, maybe two people in them. And I think there is, like I said, I think everybody's rowing in the same direction on this topic. That has not always been the case historically. But hopefully, like I said, those two primary goals are what we have in mind, and look to achieve that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have, Cletus, other than executive session.
Anybody have any questions?
I guess we'll move into executive session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, hopefully Lindley. John, who do you need in here? Just council, mayor?
Just council and the mayor, the auditor.